Welcome to Blind Level Tech. I'm Jonathan Price.
I'm Evan Starnes.
And together, we're bringing you news, tech, and information about blind technologies.
Being blind doesn't mean you have to stop living.
We're going to show you just how possible it is to live the life you want. So, I hate my camera.
Okay. What's up with
So I was trying to log in and my camera's not working, and I'm using this new software called Elgato, and it's this camera hub thing that turns your iPhone essentially into a webcam, and so you can do up to like 1080p 60 hertz refresh rate. So I was like, sweet, this is awesome. And I've been using it for, the last couple months, and all of a sudden whenever I try to turn my camera on, it's just green screen. That's it. Just a blank green screen. No camera, no nothing. However, it does show up in the actual app. And I'm like, well, this is weird, but I can't use Teams. I can't use Squadcast. I can't do anything with it. So it's really annoying.
And you're doing what as a camera? Like it's letting you use your phone?
Yeah. So it's a software that is on your computer and it connects wirelessly to your phone. And so it takes your phone from your camera and displays it on your screen. So basically like a glorified wireless webcam. It's just using the front-facing camera on your phone. It's amazing.
I mean, it sounds like the stage manager / not stage manager, but the continuity camera that Apple tried to add, except, well, it's more widely available.
Yes. Yeah. And so I was just trying to download and reinstall the software, and it wasn't like it reinstalled, and I can see myself. Hi, I see myself. I'm waving at myself. Nobody can see me. This is all audio, but it doesn't matter. And like it's not showing up anywhere outside of like on my computer screen. Speaking of my computer screen, I have to buy a new monitor. I'm not super happy. So there's this big black, like faded black spot. I sent a picture to Alex today, and there's this big faded white or black dark line all the way from the middle of my computer all the way up to the top. And so I've got like half of my left screen and half of my right side of my screen, and it's just I've got a 43-inch monitor, and so I can still kind of use it, but the color is fading super fast, and so I need to order a new one, and I don't want to spend the money on a new monitor.
You don't want to buy Apple's
oh hell no. No way.
Their crazy monitor that runs iOS almost, basically?
Why would I do... No.
Really?
No. I'm not going to spend $1,800 on a monitor. I'm sorry. No.
How about like $500 on wheels?
No, absolutely not. I can go to Home Depot and buy wheels just as good as those.
For $10.
For $10, $20, whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, like I love Apple products, but that stuff is like, really, guys?
Like,
really?
Why? What's the reason for it?
Please explain this to me. It doesn't make any sense. So,
Same.
But anyway, how are you doing? How's your week going?
Today has been a totally strange day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it started with I woke up and made myself a nice hot cup of a hot cop. Wow. So yeah, as you can tell.
You haven't even started drinking yet. Speaking of which, today, as of this recording, is your birthday. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as of this release of this day, happy birthday.
Yeah, I'm 22. Yay.
22.
Doesn't feel like much. I mean, it's like, but I started out with a nice hot cup of hot water, which was great. And so I had to remake my coffee, which, it's no big deal. But then I had to clear ice out of the back behind the ice tray of our freezer because it was preventing the door from closing, which was really obnoxious.
Gotcha.
Couldn't find Jack anything, just nothing. I couldn't find my AirPods, my wallet, even the lid of my water bottle was like in some weird place. And it was just interesting. And I'm actually about when we're done recording as of this episode, I'm going to have lunch because
oh no!
I'm telling you. You want to talk about discombobulated?
Oh, heavens.
Oh man, I don't know why it's been that way today. It's just it's weird.
Sorry.
But yeah, I'm 22 now. I wonder when is the point, because like I was expecting, after I turned 21, because it's kind of a big deal, you're old enough to drink. I was kind of expecting family to be like, "Oh, yeah, it's your birthday." But no, they're still like, "Oh my gosh, it's your birthday. Happy birthday." And
you never really want that to fade. I know some people
I don't.
They want that stuff to fade. I don't want that to fade. I want to be celebrated. I want to be doted on.
I don't want it to fade either. And I've always been told eventually when you get older, it's just going to be, go out for a nice bite. I mean, that's really all you want anyway. It's just something simple. And what I also don't want to fade away is the fact that I just have to point this out in this episode, that my cousin and my uncle are now quoting lines from BLT.
Oh, nice. What did they quote?
Oh, I forget which one it was. I think it was on Oh, but it was so good. I think it was
funny.
It was I think it was a Mac related one or something like that. Oh, it was so funny.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. That just
very nice.
I went to a gathering, I went to dinner, and my cousin was quoting me, and you and I, and I'm like, I never thought I'd see the day when
that's you've arrived when people start quoting you. That's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's super funny. Well, I'm really proud of that. Speaking of quoting things, not quoting things. So because of the reality of today, I've got my whiskey with me, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Yeah. And as of recording this, we're pretty close to 5 o'clock, so I'm okay. And I've got this amazing bottle of, it's called Old Forester, and it's 100 proof whiskey, but it is so good. It's rich and smooth, smoky. Man, I love it.
That's what whiskey should be. That sounds delicious.
Well, enough chit-chatting. Mm-hmm. So Windows accessibility. Last week, we talked
did an
about
episode
the
on Mac accessibility. Went through all the different features out there. Kind of talked a little bit about them. Yeah, so this week we're tackling Windows. And we're going to tackle what used to be the Ease of Access Center, but it's now I think it's the Accessibility Center now, or Accessibility Settings now. They finally, so glad they renamed that.
But before we get into that, I do have to say that in hindsight or I guess in, I don't know what in the world is
something site.
Is it whatever, in hindsight, thank you, or
not after
in anticipation of, or because we did the episode on accessibility, and I was running Big Sur, I was like, okay, how do I upgrade my Mac to Sonoma? So if you don't know, there's a program called OpenCore, and it rewrites the EFI boot partition for Macs, and it spoofs a newer Mac so that you can update your operating system. And so now I've done this several times, and it was a pain in the butt to get it from High Sierra up to Big Sur because I had to get a new graphics card and all that stuff, blah.
Right.
But the upgrade to Sonoma worked flawlessly. And so I am running a full version of Sonoma on a completely unsupported Mac because High Sierra was the previous version that it was only supported up to. So I'm super excited. It's working wonderfully. It's so fantastic, dude. Cool. Sonoma is amazing. And so all that to be said, we're going to shift our focus now to Windows and some of the interesting features that Windows does versus Apple. And so they have on their website, and I'll support.microsoft.com, and I'll put this link in the description. So if you guys want to check this out more for yourself, please do so, because I personally am not a Windows user, so this is going to be a horrible episode for me. So I apologize if it sounds like I'm not talking about anything, because I'm not.
I apologize if I banter too much, because I've been using Windows since I've been using a computer.
So they have this broken down into several sections. The first one at the very top of the screen is Vision, which is, hey, that's great. Fantastic. The first thing they have is and this is version Windows 11. This is what we're talking about.
The latest edition of Windows 11.
Yes. And so making Windows easier. Evan, I'm going to turn the floor over to you, and I'm just going to kind of ask random questions, but tell me some of the initial differences between Mac OS and Windows 11.
Windows does come with a lot of the same built-in stuff that Mac OS does. It's good. It's just not nearly it's not nearly as powerful as VoiceOver, for instance, or even macOS's magnification. But Windows does provide a lot of the same or a lot of similar features to macOS. They're just labeled a little differently. You go into your settings, accessibility, and vision.
Yep.
On iOS and macOS, you're going to see all these options. What I find weird in Windows is that you're going to see a lot of like, make the computer easier to see, make the keyboard easier to type on. So they've kind of weirdly labeled their different settings. And those settings have names. Like, obviously, you heard narrator.
Yeah, they have like contrast themes. Like one of them is contrast. You can select aquatic, desert, dusk, night sky. So all of those things are like, to me, as a visual person who can see, I'm like, what does it even look like?
That must be new. I've noticed because I never even play with contrast themes. It does sound like a visual feature for those with low vision.
Who have some at least like usable sight.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can still do things like the mouse pointer, but so previously you were talking about the robust nature of Mac OS versus Windows. In what way, I guess, can you share if they're that much different, or why one is, I don't want to say better than the other, but why one, for lack of words, is better than the other?
Well, like, it has to do with an availability standpoint. Like, VoiceOver comes built in, obviously. And yes, I can hear all you out there like, yes, VoiceOver is full of accessibility or issues. You know, it's slow in Safari, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
I get that. But it's still a very robust and very powerful screen reader that comes built in. And I'm not discounting narrator at all. Don't get me wrong. Narrator is amazing. We'll talk about that. But what I like about macOS's accessibility is the features that are provided seem a lot more well thought out and a little bit more stable. Mm-hmm. And they're actually really baked hard into the macOS. So VoiceOver, for instance, doesn't just work, when I'm using the computer or even when I'm setting the computer up. You can even enable it when your Mac is in like recovery mode or when you're getting a new OS installed.
Yeah, you have it accessible from the get-go.
Yeah, the core parts of the computer are accessible too, and that's kind of a big thing because, if you're talking Windows, eventually, you have all sorts of different manufacturers of computers, and they all behave differently as far as like getting into the BIOS and just setting up core things like what drive your computer's going to boot from, which is huge because that'll affect whether your computer starts up or not.
It really does. And so things like the terminal on a Mac, are those things accessible, across both platforms?
Oh, yeah. The terminal on Windows, or the command prompt as they call it, is fully accessible. Okay. And that's the thing is really – okay, I definitely say it was an easier argument to make like 15 years ago because with Windows it used to be like, man, you didn't really get any screen reader. You used to have to install pretty much everything. And even the setup process wasn't accessible at all. And so it was easier to make that, but they have come a long way as far as baking their accessibility. Like now you can set up your computer using narrator, and that's been that way for years, quite a few years now, since Windows 10. But
so speaking of narrator, now that we've kind of gone back and forth with the Mac OS versus PC, what are some of the wonderful things about narrator? Because you use Windows all the time. You're at work, you're at home, and so tell me the differences, or tell me what you like about narrator.
So I use NVDA, Non-Visual Desktop Access, which is a free open source screen reader, really popular and a great, great option especially if you don't want to spend, the money for a JAWS license or whatever. Nothing against JAWS. It is also a good and very powerful screen reader. But narrator, it comes built into Windows. So think of it like Windows or Microsoft's version of VoiceOver almost.
Yeah. Yep.
It can be activated with a simple shortcut key, Control Windows Enter. And it fires up very quickly. And some of the great things about narrator are that they really are baking in a lot more functionality into it. As far as it now can, it's been able to support Chrome, and it's always been able to work with Edge. But but yeah, it supports with Google Chrome. So if that's your favorite web browser, narrator will work with it now. It's always done pretty good with Microsoft applications like Word and their Office suite, especially Outlook. And pretty much most things nowadays will work with it. Even like Audacity, it's not perfect. It's not as good as NVDA, but it will work. So the thing that I really want to emphasize with narrator is it has, in my opinion, gotten to the point where you could use it as a daily screen reader. I forgot to mention this a few seconds ago, but it allows you to set your own custom key maps. So
yes,
a key map is basically a whole list of keyboard shortcuts that you can hit to make certain things happen with your screen reader. And what's cool is that they actually have an option to set it to, I don't think they call it JAWS per se,
right?
But it's very similar to JAWS. So if you're coming from like JAWS or NVDA and try and give a narrator a try, you'll be right at home, basically. It's
That's
a little.
good.
I mean, it's kind of different, but the concepts are pretty much the same. I will say, narrator, though, in my opinion, does have better touchscreen support.
Oh, okay.
It has ear cons, which I like built in, and ear cons are those little sound effects. VoiceOver's got them. Super glad Microsoft's made them, and they're very subtle, but also like very definitive. Like exactly what you'll get used to them very quickly, and they serve their purpose as ear cons.
So for those who don't know what an ear con is, what is an ear con?
What an ear con is a little sound that your screen reader makes when a certain thing happens. So if I go to a link, the screen reader will make like a click sound, or in VoiceOver's case, when you reach a boundary, like if you can't go any further, it makes this like bonk. I turn that off though because it's irritating. And narrator has its own set of sounds for links, and even when you're typing in the search menu or in the start menu,
right,
and suggestions appear, it makes this little like clicking noise.
Sure.
And it also has like NVDA and JAWS and a few other screen readers. It has a what's called focus mode, and focus mode basically is if you're in like a text box or whatever, and you got to type something, and then if you're filling out a form online, and your screen reader would alternate between focus and browse modes. Browse mode, of course, is useful when you're navigating around pages and you need to be able to use your navigation quick keys as they're called.
Gotcha.
You got to hit H for heading and P for paragraph and stuff like that. And it actually has sounds that will allow you to distinct between focus mode and browse mode, which is nice.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm not a big fan of with narrator is its voice selection or lack thereof.
Okay.
In Windows 11, they did give you the ability to use natural voices, or I think they're neural voices. They have a name.
Okay.
Those are they're decent voices. They're definitely human quality, because the default voice is Microsoft David, and Microsoft David kind of sounds like a breathy, tinny computer voice. I've never been a fan of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get these new natural voices, but the catch here is that they only work with narrator. I think you can adjust the rate. They do have some really strange pronunciation issues. I can't name any off the top of my head. I've noticed that its accuracy as a synthesizer isn't as good as like Eloquence or even Apple's Macintalk.
Yep.
And I mean, yes, I know those have had their issues too in the past. But
so speaking of like and I don't want to cut you off, but
you're good.
The voice typing, talking, like instead of having to type out on your screen, Windows has a pretty robust version of that, and it's not perfect. But have you used that?
I have used it. It's not as easy to access, but it does work as far as like accuracy, usability goes. It works very well.
Yeah. And then have you ever played with the Windows eye control? This is a very interesting feature to me, especially for somebody who is blind. Have you messed around with this?
I haven't, and I imagine a lot of people who are blind or low vision won't be able to unless your eyes are stationary, as a lot of people have what's called nystagmus, where your eyes move back and forth all the time and they can't focus.
Right.
So, no, I have not played with that. If I had cognition issue or, a motor disability, if you will, then yeah, I'd definitely really try and learn more of that. I am curious, like honestly curious how this eye control works with a screen reader though.
So they say it uses a program. I want to pronounce this right. Tobii, Tobii, and it looks Tobii. Really interesting. So I would encourage you guys, if you are using a Windows device, check that out, and you do have the ability to maybe use this. You do have to get a Tobii camera or a specialized camera for this, it looks like.
Wait a minute.
And At least that's what it's saying on the site. Maybe I'm just reading this wrong.
No, that makes sense.
Tobii
though,
Eye
because
Tracker
it is-
4C device. So you'll have to purchase that, and who knows? Maybe you could get that for free through government funding, or how, like if you can get your screen readers, that kind of stuff. But
I don't know.
that would be interesting to maybe ask Microsoft. So we'll maybe do some digging for you and reach back out. But
Yeah.
it's an interesting concept to try to, I guess, help in the visual arena. So after doing some of this, I guess, research, or I guess taking a look at the Windows 11, if you're going to, let me ask you this before I ask my second question. Is there anything else that is really cool about Windows if you are trying to sway someone to get a Windows machine for the accessibility features outside of the narrator? Is there anything else you want to add to that?
There's not a lot I can attest to. Narrator really is the most I've played with as far as the accessibility settings in Windows. It's got like plenty of good ones out there. Like my thing with Windows is not the accessibility settings, but the availability of software. Since it's such a widely used platform, it's a lot easier to find things like games and different accessible programs. Then it's easier on Windows than it would be on Mac, which sounds very counterintuitive.
Sure.
I get, but
no, that makes sense. The level of software availability is quite a lot higher on Windows than it is Mac. So with that being said, if you were going to push somebody, and I know people already know we're Mac people, but if they're truly on the fence, what are some pros and cons you want to give them now that we've looked at both sides of the accessibility features? What pros and cons are you going to give to Mac versus Windows and vice versa?
Well, with Mac, I mean, you kind of, at least from what I've seen, it's probably different for magnification, but in most cases with like screen readers and stuff, you get what you get. So if you're not a voiceover guy or a voiceover fan, you're kind of stuck with it. I mean, you can modify it, and you can. There are third-party programs that will give you more functionality. Like there's one called VOCR, which gives you optical character recognition, and that's actually a huge recommendation. If anybody has a Mac, you really need to have VOCR. It's a must-have.
Yep.
You know, you do get a lot more voice options and stuff like that, but Windows is more flexible as far as like if you want, whatever screen reader you prefer, you can use, unless it's VoiceOver, of course.
Yeah.
Got to say that. If you want to use JAWS, you can get JAWS, NVDA, narrator. The options for accessibility features are a lot more prominent in Windows.
Sure.
But what's interesting though is that you don't actually necessarily enable those options like in the accessibility settings. They're separate programs that you actually run separately. And that's the other weird thing that it took me a minute to grasp is that Windows' accessibility settings, pretty much all of those options are what comes with Windows. So like anything third-party that you install, you don't turn that on from the accessibility settings in Windows. Yeah, it's
that can be kind of confusing, especially if you're the type of person who likes a one-touch, like I guess in this example, a one-touch feature. And, with Mac, things just kind of come bundled together, and there's an accessibility panel, and you just make all your accessibility changes in that screen or in that panel. Yep. And I can see where that would be frustrating for somebody using Windows, and they're trying to navigate all these different third-party plugins. They're trying to navigate these different windows and what's open, what's not open, what's running, what's not running. That could be kind of frustrating. So if you like somebody, if you're somebody who likes to have separate windows and separate functionality, great. I know several people who are like that. But if you want everything in one spot and you want to be able to customize, I guess a little bit. They're probably about the same level of customization.
Yeah, they've gotten there. They've pretty much gotten to the same level.
I will say that even as a sighted person or a sightling, going into the accessibility settings, I noticed a gigantic difference from Big Sur to Sonoma, and I'm actually using a few of the accessibility functions like the speech to text. And so, I have it set up where I double tap my command button and I can send emails just through voice text, and everything that I do in text is now voice to text, and it's in the keyboard settings of all places. So it's an amazing feature. I love it. I get my emails and all my text messages and everything done so much faster. And then there's also, if you hold the command shift, this is for Mac OS Sonoma or Mac OS just in general. If you hold down command and shift, you get Siri, or you can say, "Hey Siri," and all that. So sorry if I just activated your phones, but
sweet though.
If you hold down command and shift, you can actually speak, and I add reminders, like it's instant. And so that has just game changed my workflow over the last 2 days. And so I love those features. So,
okay. So there is one thing too that I really need to kind of say here about, just going back to Windows here.
Yeah.
With Apple, since VoiceOver is baked in, any updates that they do basically come with Apple's macOS software updates. So if they want to update VoiceOver, it's got to be in a software update.
Right.
Now, they were talking about making it a separate app, and I have mixed feelings about that because it will it most likely will affect the responsiveness of VoiceOver and or the usability of it with non-standard
right. It won't be baked in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At least with Windows and stuff that isn't built into Windows. So Narrator is kind of the same thing here too.
Yeah. But
like NVDA or JAWS or whatever, whenever they push out updates, you get those updates when they push them out.
Yep.
So
for sure,
it's up to the manufacturer of the screen reader / assistive software to push out their updates, as opposed to up to the technology manufacturer. If that makes sense.
Yep, for sure. Well, this conversation has been fun, and I'm starting to get hungry. So, Evan, you know what it's time for?
Oh, I do too. Yep.
Sandwich of the week. All right. So this week, my sandwich of the week is going to be a straight up panini. I just love paninis, especially when the weather is getting cold. You can dip it in soups, and you can stuff them with all sorts of stuff: turkey, chicken. I mean, the traditional is like chicken and Greek, Euro meat, and so that's super good, especially with the tzatziki sauce and that kind of stuff. Oh man, sauce. It's so good. So good. So, I'm just going to go with straight up panini. Love it. Oh, actually I have to make a correction from last week. So my daughter listened to the show and she was criticizing me. She goes, "Dad, I did not say pickles and ketchup." I was like, "Oh, okay. What is it?" And oh crap! Now I'm gonna forget. It's something super weird. It's mustard. Oh, mustard and pepperoni. So I was way off, but still, nonetheless, it's still just as weird. So
I could see mustard and pepperoni. I could stretch it.
Sure.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
Anyway, okay. Your sandwich of the week.
My sandwich. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. It's a wrap.
Ooh,
dun dun dun.
Nice tortilla wrap, lettuce wrap.
Oh, a tortilla wrap, but loaded with lettuce. I actually attended the Aging at Altitude Resource Fair.
Oh, yeah.
Got a absolute metric ton of audio from it.
Nice.
And for lunch they had a taco truck, and it was Eats and Sweets taco truck.
Oh, yeah.
Or not a taco truck, a food truck. Yep. Forgive me here. I'm used to the taco truck.
I know, right?
Across the street, and I'm like, my brain just went, taco truck, food truck. And they have all these different sandwiches, and they have all sorts of different ice creams. I'm really bummed I didn't get to try their ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
And cookies and brownies and just yummy things. But I got this wrap, and it was pretty good. It was I think it was roast beef, and it was grass-fed roast beef.
Nice.
Lettuce and onion, and I think there's pickle and tomato. The killer for me, though, and if this offends anybody, I deeply apologize, is mayonnaise. I can't stand mayonnaise.
I can't either.
I don't like the smell, the texture, the flavor, nothing about it. I think it's nasty stuff.
Nope. To me, it reminds me of curdled milk, although cottage cheese is the same thing. But to me. Okay, so
I like cottage cheese.
I got to ask, what's the difference between a wrap and a burrito?
That's a really good question.
I don't know. Now that we have kind of indecisively suggested that a burrito and a wrap are kind of the same things, we'd love to hear why you think they are different or what makes them the same. Evan, what is that site? Where do they go?
Oh, they go to aincolorado.org/feedback. Or, of course, you can email directly at feedback@aincolorado.org.
Boom. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple of announcements really quick. First of all, coming up, we have some amazing guests coming up. So I want to make you guys aware of this so you can push this out there. We have Gary Bartos from Echobatics, and this app is so cool. It's got some very interesting camera features that you basically point to a device and it tells you what you're pointing to, especially to read text. So that's coming up next week. And then the week after that, we have an amazing guy, Chris Pelt of the Blind Grilling Experience, and he's going to talk about all technology related to blind grilling. And then the week after that, oh, I can't believe that. This is so cool. We're going to have Nefertiti, and she is a award-winning audio described a voiceover artist, and she has a ton of technology tips and accessible things for us. And so it's going to be, we have an amazing lineup of guests coming up. So be on the lookout for that. Secondly, the Colorado Gives Day is coming December 5th. And so we're going to be opening up our donation feed, or you can start donating on November 1st. So if you don't want to wait until that Tuesday to make your donation, we would love to see a donation come out. It does help all of the 501c3s in Colorado. So you can make your donations directly to AIN. Or if you just want to give to an organization that you have your heart set on, you can do that as well, starting on November 1st. So Colorado Gives Day. Evan, any announcements from you?
Well, I should say that you guys should pretty soon here be hearing a nice little short message before all of our podcasts, and it does have the URL to donate to Colorado Gives. I should say though, it is aincolorado.org/donate.
Thank you.
You can donate now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, it'll seriously help us out. All the 501c3s out there help us. It'll help us qualify for the massive incentive fund. There's also all sorts. They've really revamped it this year. There's all sorts of different little giveaways / trivia games and just all sorts of little fun things to do around Colorado Gives Day. So even if you're like, oh, I don't know if I can donate, just go check it out because it's super cool. You don't know what you're missing.
So with all that funding, we really take this to heart, and we want to push out more information to you guys and to your family and to your friends. And so we really need your help, not only in this area, but in the area of feedback. And so if you can leave us some feedback, go onto Spotify. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review, leave us a question, comment, share this with your friends, because these algorithms really help, and it boosts the listenership and it gets our message out, because we want tech to be accessible to everyone. This life is too short, and you guys have to live with technology, and that's just kind of the world that we're in right now. And so we want to be a blessing to you. We want to make sure that we are giving you as much information about technology as possible. So
indeed.
With that being said, for Evan Starnes, I'm Jonathan Price, and on behalf of the entire AINC staff and family, don't forget to plug in your devices. Talk to you later.